Chuck Collins, the chairman of the board of Marine Federal Credit Union, and I'd like to welcome you today to our celebration of reaching $1 billion in assets. This is a tremendous accomplishment within the credit union industry, and we're proud to get there after 65 years. As far as our dignitaries, I'd like to recognize, first of all, Colonel Brigadier General Select Ralph Rizzo from Marine Corps Base. He's in charge of the installations on the East Coast. Colonel Garth Burnett is the commanding officer of Marine Corps Air Station New River. Cody Brown here? I didn't see. There's Cody in the back. He's representing Congressman Greg Murphy for us today. Mike Lazzara, our state senator, is here. And Phil Shepard, I didn't see Phil here, but if you see him, he's one of our invited dignitaries. Tim Foster, chairman of the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, is with us. Sammy Phillips, our mayor, Jacksonville. And we had Major General Bob Dickerson was supposed to be here, but he's got some issues with his parents that he's dealing with. Now, my remarks today are intended primarily for the employees of this credit union, so you can understand a little bit about the history of the credit union, which I think is very important. But I think our dignitaries and our members will also find this very interesting. This credit union started in 1959. When 8 Marines from Camp Lejeune ponied up $5 each, petitioned the U.S. government, and we were chartered on April 24th, 1959. The first manager was one of the founding fathers. He was a fellow by the name of Arthur C. Everett, Ace Everett. He was a dispersing officer, first lieutenant Mustang officer, so he knew numbers, and he managed the credit union for almost 20 years. And he took that $40 and grew it to $9 million in a 20-year period. Unfortunately, our capital was very weak at that time. We only had $120,000, which was a capital percentage to assets of 1.3, which is very inadequate, and we were almost shut down by our federal regulators. In fact, if we had that capital ratio today, we'd be shut down in a New York minute. But they gave us a reprieve and told the board, you better do better. So the board then hired a man by the name of Harold Scott Hussey. He was a second manager, then called the president of the credit union. And he had that job for 10 years before cancer got him. But he did some bold things that really helped the credit union. First of all, he moved the headquarters from Building 58 on Virginia Dare Boulevard at Camp Lejeune to the corner of Center and Bryn Mawr Street, where we built a 7,000 square foot headquarters at that time. He also moved 3 branches out in town. So Bryn Mawr was the first, then Gum Branch, and then Swansboro. So now our members didn't have to beg their way through the gates of Camp Lejeune to access their credit union. They could access the credit union out in town. And that was a tremendous boom to grow our membership. And it worked out very well for us. But during those 10 years that he had the helm, he grew the assets from 9 million to 86 million. But more importantly, he grew our capital to 7.6%. So our regulators were very happy with us, and we were now in their good graces. Next, after Hussey, a man that a lot of you standing will remember, it was Craig Lewis Chamberlain. He was hired as the president, now CEO of the credit union, and he served for 24 years. And he did some marvelous things for this credit union. In fact, he took the credit union from 86 million to 530 million in assets, and he grew our capital to almost 9%. But under his watch, branches grew to 21, ATMs grew to over 100, which was unheard of for a credit union our size, and new services were brought on board. When we were at Camp Lejeune, we were just a savings and loan. when we came out in town, Hussey got us into checking accounts and got us into ATMs. Chamberlain got us into mortgage lending. He got us into commercial lending. He got us a call center. Just on and on and on the things that he did for the credit union. So very, very instrumental for us. And then next is our current president and CEO, Jeffrey Douglas Clark, sitting there at the end. He took over in 2015, and of course he's still our president and CEO, and he's done incredible things for us too. He has grown the assets past the $1.1 billion mark. And our CFO cautioned us, don't grow too fast because you could outgrow your capital and really get in a bind there. Well, not only did we grow to $1 billion, but he grew our capital to 10.1%. Now think about that. 10% of $1 billion is $100 million. That is a lot of capital that can get us through a lot of ills and a lot of nefarious activity, be it cyber attacks, be it pandemics, be it downturns in the economy. So our members and our community should be very proud of where this credit union is at this point in time. Now, these men didn't act in a vacuum. They had a board of directors that oversaw them. A board of directors that hired them, that fired them, that motivated them. And I think it's important to kind of recognize the history therefrom. Heading the board are the chairman. When the credit union first started, for the first 20 years, believe it or not, we had 15 chairmen. Actually, they were called president of the board back then. Well, my gosh, that's longevity is needed in that position too. And I don't know how the credit union functioned, turning that gavel over so many times. By the time someone learned the position, they turned the gavel over to somebody else. Well, all that changed in 1981 when John Lee Eller, who was sitting in that wheelchair right there, took over as chairman of the board and maintained that position for 24 years. He saw assets grow from 20 million to 560 million during his watch. He saw the massive growth of branches, ATMs, and services that the credit union now enjoys. And he was the architect behind getting this building for us. This is our new, since 2005, this is our new headquarters, 66,000 square foot facility, which for a mile in any direction was the only thing standing here. And now look what's going on. After John Eller was Clarence Morton Goldman, Marty Goldman, and Brenda is somewhere here, is widow. Marty did great things for this credit union too, and he served for 14 years and was very instrumental and very influential. In fact, we named this road coming into our headquarters Marty Goldman Way. And finally, yours truly, I took over in 2019 at Marty's untimely death. And my only claim to fame is recognizing the thoroughbreds that we had leading this credit union, and I just jumped on their back and rode them across the finish line. Anyway, it took us 65 years to parlay $40 into $1.10 billion at the end of August. So a wonderful accomplishment. A wonderful accomplishment for everybody, the incredible employees, the dedicated employees that we have that have just been the backbone of this credit union getting us to where we are. So to commemorate this day, we are going to have a photo shoot on this boom, looking down on our corporate headquarters and the $1 million banner here. And we want everybody in that picture. Everybody. The more the merrier.